On the star-dust continent, in the center of the Mingyuan Forest stands a woman in white. A gentle breeze blows through her hair, gentle and cold. In a daze, she hears the woman talking to someone in a dilapidated small courtyard in the countryside. Several children are bullying a boy. You're not my brother, I'm not a stupid brother. You're just a wild child picked up by my parents. Because of you, I don't know how many times my friends have laughed at you. How could you be so lucky and not die? One of the children in a new outfit kicked and said the man curled up on the ground didn't speak. If he fought back, he would only be beaten even harder. The man couldn't help but hug his body and it would pass soon. Modern post-apocalyptic Rebirth article, not from ancient times. Don't make a mistake, babies. It mainly focuses on female and male leads. Chapter 1. The author has something to say. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This is a book about strong women and strong men, but the male protagonist is not as strong as the female protagonist. The female protagonist is so powerful that she has no friends, and the female protagonist is only gentle with the male protagonist, and is always very cold at other times. The male lead was only foolish when he had an accident when he was a child, and it won't get better later on, but the male lead's first choice will always be the female lead. If you mind, please take a detour. Chapter 2. Memories of Me and He. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Mu Shuama walked downstairs and stopped a taxi on the roadside. The taxi driver turned around and said, "May I ask where you are going?" "Master, go to Jaiko village. I think of us from the previous life. I am an orphan, and I have been in the happy orphanage since I remember it. The first time I saw him was when I was 7 years old and he was 10 years old. His family brought him over, but he lowered his head and didn't say a word until his car drove away. He didn't react. The dean's mother took him to the room and handed him a few words before leaving. I quietly walked to the door and looked up at him. At that moment, he realized that someone had raised their head. I had never seen such a beautiful little brother before. The boy has a captivating face, fair and delicate skin, a straight nose, thin lips like rose petals, and a pair of narrow phoenix eyes with a faint distance inside. A tear mole at the corner of his eye seems to be bleeding. As I watched him, he lowered his head slightly, lowered his eyes, and his long eyelashes trembled gently. I smiled and said, "Hello little brother, my name is Moo Moo. You look so beautiful. I haven't seen anyone more beautiful than you before. Would you be willing to be friends with me?" He looked up at me in silence. "How could you come here, little brother? I heard from the dean's mother that those who come here have no family, but I saw that your family sent you here. Why did you come with family?" I asked with a puzzled expression on my face. He remained silent for a while, and just when I thought he wouldn't speak, he spoke up. "I don't have a family in the future. My birth was a mistake, but why did I give birth to me but don't love me? What did I do wrong?" He collapsed in an instant, which scared me. But watching him burst into tears, so sad, I was also very sad. I ran to my own room, and there was a little rabbit doll by the bedside. I picked it up and ran to the little brother, handing him the little rabbit doll. "Don't cry, this was given to me by my best friend Xianyan before. Later, she went to her new home and we never saw her again. Now this is my most precious thing, and I am giving it to you now. You have no family, I have no family, and from now on, I will be your family. Don't be afraid, with me here, no one will bully you." I patted my chest and said. He lifted his tearful face, widened his eyes, tears condensed like crystals, staring at the little rabbit doll for a moment, then raised his hand and took it over. Although he didn't say a word, accepting my little rabbit doll means admitting that I am his family. I will also have family in the future, and I am so happy. I pulled him to introduce him to the orphanage, and I took him to the back of a grass cage, pointing here to introduce him. "Little brother, look, this is my secret base. Usually, when I'm unhappy, I come here. Except for Xiaoman and Little Rabbit, only you know about it. Now I'll share it with you. If you're unhappy in the future, come here. By the way, I don't know what little brother's name is." Lu Yuchen, I'll call you, Brother Aiken, in the future, okay? Okay, unfortunately, these peaceful days didn't last long. One day, my brother Aiken and I went to the street to play and were kidnapped. When I regained consciousness, I was in a van with Lu Yuchen unconscious next to me, and there were a few children nearby. I think I had encountered a kidnapper, right? Lu Yuchen opened his eyes and looked around. Suddenly, he propped up his body and looked around nervously. When he saw me by his side, his body instantly relaxed. Lu Yuchen whispered, "Moo Moo, are you okay? Are you not injured?" I shook my head. What should we do now, Brother Aiken? Are we going to be sold far away? Will it separate us? Will we never see each other again in the future? I cried out loud. Lu Yuchen quickly leaned towards me and said, "It's okay, Moo Moo, don't be afraid. I won't let anything happen to us. I will find a way. Don't worry, okay, trust me. Okay, I believe in Brother Aiken." Chapter 3. Separation. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The van drove for a while and drove into a courtyard, where a few voices could be heard outside. How about a few? 6, but there are 2 good ones. Those 2 good goods should be able to sell for a good price. Alright, let's take them to the firewood shed and lock them up first. Moo Moo, quickly close your eyes. I quickly closed my eyes. I felt like I was being held in someone's arms, with a strong smell of sweat on their body that was about to make me dizzy. They finally put me on the ground, and in a little while, I was about to sink. I heard the sound of the door closing and locking. I opened my eyes and looked around. Half of the narrow room was filled with firewood, and a few children crowded together. Slowly, everyone woke up. 2 girls opened their mouths and cried when they saw the unfamiliar environment. I was afraid their crying would attract bad people, so I quickly comforted them. "Ladies and sisters, don't cry anymore. If you cry again, the bad guys should come. We'll be fine. The police uncle will come to rescue us." Seeing it useless, a cold voice came from beside me, "Shut up, cry again and throw you out to feed the wolves." The 2 little girls were not big at first, and at this moment they were stunned. Their little eyes looked pitifully at him. "Brother Aiken, what should we do now?" "Moo Moo, give me your hair card." The hair clip on my head was bought for me by Brother Aiken the day I went out on the street. It was made of 3 small stars made of stone, and I took it off and handed it to him, puzzled. What does Brother Aiken want this for? "Useful, Moo Moo, you reach out your hand and I'll help you untie the rope first." Perhaps because we were children, we were tied in front of our hands. I reached out my hand and soon untied it. I quickly untied it for Lu Yuchen, and together we untied it for other children. What should I do now? "I want to go home, I miss my parents." One of the little girls said, "Don't worry, Brother Aiken will come up with a solution. He's so smart and will definitely take us out." I said with a proud expression, "I don't know if it's him by my side, but I'm not really afraid either. You guys, let's take a break first. If anyone comes, let me know. If you want to go out, just listen to me." Lu Yuchen calmly commanded the children by the wall and obediently stood at the door, listening to the commotion. Lu Yuchen removed the stone from his hairpin, then took a small handful of dry hair grass and placed it on the ground. He vigorously stroked the stone with both hands, repeatedly and inexplicably. The dry hair grass emitted a small wisp of smoke, and Lu Yuchen crawled on the ground, slowly blowing air in his mouth. The dry hair grass slowly caught fire. Lu Yuchen picked up the dry wooden stick next to him and threw it into the fire. "Listen to me, when they come to put out the fire later, they will definitely only ask one person to take us out and others to put out the fire. Then listen to me, and I will say run separately, don't stop. If you run out, you will be saved, okay? But we don't know the way, can we run out? How do you know if you don't try? Someone's here, hurry up, shout, help, it's on fire, help." The door was opened with a loud crack, and the smoke made people unable to open their eyes. "Damn it, what's going on? How could it catch fire? "De Zhuang, are you smoking and littering here again?" One person inside walked out. "Isn't that the person who abducted us, boss? I'm wronged. I know exactly where this is and how dare I act recklessly. Alright, take them out. These are the god of wealth and there can't be any trouble. Others can put out the fire. Hurry up and come with me, be honest, or I'll kill you all." We followed behind each other honestly, a little further away, and voices came from behind. "Run." In an instant, it scattered in all directions. Before I could react, my hand was pulled forward by a force, and before I could run far, a female voice came from behind. "Help, don't leave me behind." A girl fell to the ground with tears on her face and despair in her eyes. "Moo moo, run quickly. Remember to keep running along this road, don't turn back, go out and find someone to save us." "Brother Aiken, I don't want to, I want to be with you, I don't want to be separated from you." "Moo moo, don't be afraid. Brother Aiken will come find you, wait for me." I gave him a deep glance, then turned around and ran towards the outside. "Brother Aiken, wait for me, I will definitely save you. I don't know how long I've been running, there's not a single person nearby. I ran numbly and haven't eaten anything for a day. My body has reached its limit, and what supports me is my belief in finding someone to save him. There are also people waiting for me, and I can't fall down. I have to save them." A beam of light appeared in front of me, and I stood in the middle of the road, spreading my hands and preparing for the collision. The intercepting car slid forward due to inertia, stopped 1 meter away from me. A woman got off the car, and I couldn't even stand steadily. She quickly stepped forward. "Auntie, please help my brother. There are bad people trying to catch us. My brother has been caught, and the bad people are inside." I fainted before I could finish speaking. When I woke up, I was in a clean white room with the smell of disinfectant in the air. There was also the aunt who saved me and 2 uncles in police uniforms next to me. When I woke up, I looked at the younger uncle and asked, "Little sister, can you tell your brother about the process?" "Uncle, where's my brother? I want my brother." "Little sister, when we received the alarm and rushed there, the person had already run away. We did encounter a few children nearby who had already been placed next door, but one of them said that one was missing. I don't know if it's your brother." I got out of bed and ran out, unable to even put on my shoes in time. Pushing open the next door, I looked over and saw that there was none. How could there be none? Tears streamed down my face. In an instant a girl walked over and bowed to me. "I'm sorry, if it weren't for saving me, he wouldn't have led those people away on his own. I know you can't forgive me for anything I say, Do you think my brother can come back?" With these words. "Do you know that I only have his family? My only family is gone. You give it back to my brother. He said he would come back to find me, and he said he wanted me to wait for him. Yes, he said he wanted me to wait for him, and he would come back to find me. I will be obedient and wait for him to come back to find me." As I spoke, I walked back to the ward and stayed quietly, but no matter how obedient and well-behaved I was, he never came back to find me again. I lost my only relative. Meeting again was a month after the end of the world, during a team mission at the base. The time I saw that little rabbit doll from my childhood, I asked him where it came from, and he said it was something very important to him. Although he was foolish, he still remembered me. I recognized him, and I never thought that this recognition would kill him. Chapter 4. Reunion. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The car drove to a small rural intersection on the edge of the city. I discussed with the driver and agreed to wait for me here. We will go back together later, as it is not easy to take a taxi in a small rural area. I walked inside, but I didn't know which one was, so I had to ask one person. As I walked forward, I saw some aunties and aunties setting up a dragon gate formation. It's not the time for farming, so in my spare time, I would gather a bunch of gossip. When I walked over, they all looked at me. A fat-looking and yellow-skinned aunt stood up and looked at me, saying, "Girl, are you here for anything?" "Auntie, may I ask how to get to Wu Changgue's house? Who are you from his family? I haven't seen you before. I happen to be on my way back, so I'll take you there. Thank you, Auntie. You're welcome, I'm the village chief's wife. Just call me Auntie Plum Blossom. Okay, Aunt Plum Blossom. After saying goodbye to them, Aunt Plum Blossom led me west and told me a lot about Wu Changgue's family along the way. I listened quietly. By the way, what are you doing at Wu Changgue's house, daughter? Auntie Plum Blossom looked puzzled. I didn't originally plan to say anything, but when I thought about it, I might need the village chief's help. So I picked out some important things and said. It wasn't long before we arrived. In a run-down courtyard, Auntie Plum Blossom raised her hand and smashed the frame on the door, shouting loudly, "Jinhua, your house has guests. Open the door quickly." "Here we go, stop shouting," a hoarse female voice came from inside, and when I opened the door, a middle-aged woman in her 40s and 50s appeared in front of me. She had a sharp and sarcastic appearance, a dark face, a pointed chin, and the jawbones on both sides were particularly prominent when weighed in. She looked at me and turned to ask the village chief's wife, Plum Blossom, "Who is this?" "Jinhua, this is your eldest son's sister. They finally found their family, so why don't you bring them in quickly?" Li Jinhua became anxious as soon as she heard this. "Plum Blossom, how can you trust people casually?" She said, "Yes, what evidence is there?" My extremely calm and indifferent voice came through. "Don't you know if you call someone out? He doesn't even know his own sister." Because of this commotion, coupled with the loud noise, people from nearby gathered around to persuade them one after another. "Jinhua, your big cow family came to call you to recognize him. If it's not good to ask him to come for nothing. Changgue's family, your big cow was originally picked up by you. How you treated him over the years is evident to everyone. Now that his sister has come, you still don't want Big Bull to recognize your family." As soon as Li Jinhua heard all this, she was so anxious that she almost jumped up. "Hey, what's going on? What are you doing outside my house?" At this sound, everyone made way and walked in with a man in his 50s, wearing a straw hat and a patched gray coat. "As the head of the family, you have finally returned. This person from unknown places insists on being Daniel's sister." Wu Changgue looked at my face without saying a word, and Aunt Plum Blossom beside him said, "Changgue, it's not easy for the little girl. If my brother gets lost and comes all the way over, you can let your big shot come out and recognize him. If it really is, everyone will be happy, right? You said you're Big Nyo's sister, but I don't think you look like each other. Plum Blossom, you're not unaware of Big Nyo's situation. He can't speak. How can you make him recognize him?" Wu Changgue had a helpless expression on his face. My eyes flickered slightly, and I pointed my hand inside the door. "Oh, here comes the person. I have a way to make him speak up." Wearing a black sweatshirt and a pair of wide-leg pants, I don't know how many times I've sewed and patched them up. I slightly lowered my head and stood beside Wu Changgue, silent as if everything around me had nothing to do with him, immersed in my own world. Li Jinhua pulled his arm and pointed at me, asking him, "Daniel, do you know her? Take a good look." He lifted his head, his long and messy hair covering a pair of clear glass-like eyes, and I smiled at him. "Hello, little brother. My name is Moo Moo and I don't have any family. This is my most important thing. I will give it to you. Would you be willing to be my family?" I spread out my palm, and a small hairpin lay quietly in my palm. It was undoubtedly the one that Lu Yuchen had given me back then. When Lu Yuchen finished using it, I received it in my pocket. This was also the only thought I had in these years. Who knew that Wu Danyu would be so excited when he heard this name and saw this hairpin, holding my hand and muttering incessantly in his mouth, "Mumu, sister, Mumu, it's sister." The big guy couldn't believe it when he saw this situation. "This bull is speaking, have you heard him?" "I heard it, it's really his sister. This big cow has never spoken since he came here. Now, it's okay. His sister has come to find him. He will go with his sister, right?" Changgue, you see, Danyo really knows each other. These are blood and flesh-connected relatives, even if they are foolish, they can recognize them. Wu Changgue and Li Jinhua listened to everyone say that Wu Dainiu was going to follow, but Li Jinhua immediately stopped and slapped her thighs with both hands, then opened her mouth and began to howl. Danyo was raised by me with a bunch of feces and urine. Now that I've raised him so much, you can take him away if you want. No, he's my son. You can't take him away. I was cold all over, my eyes were cold and fierce. She was stunned when she saw the light in my eyes. Oh, my brother used to be good. Why did you raise him like this? I haven't even dealt with you yet. You should report it to the villain first. Aunt Plum Blossom interjected. Li Jinhua, when Danyo first came here, it wasn't like this. If it weren't for your Duobao trying to snatch Danyo's doll, he wouldn't have accidentally pushed Duobao or rubbed a little skin on the ground. But you two beat him half to death, and he had a fever in the middle of the night without seeking a doctor. If it weren't for the time I came to see you, he might have been gone a long time ago, but his brain would have burned out like this. If you treated him like this, would you be sorry to say it's good for him? My face was filled with tears. Is it a little rabbit doll? It turns out that I still hurt you after all. Seeing me crying, Wu Dainiu hurriedly picked up his sleeve and opened my tears, whispering softly, Mumu. Don't cry, I'm here. Upon hearing these words, I couldn't help but burst into tears. How could my brother Aiken be so good? When I had cried enough, I looked into his eyes. Brother, come home with me, okay? Okay, no, I can't take care of him so much without any credit or hard work. If you want to take him away like this, without 100,000 yuan, he can't go anywhere. 100,000 yuan, Li Jinhua, why don't you go grab it? You've been feeding and dressing cows from childhood to adulthood, and everyone can see it. If you want 100,000 yuan, are you okay? I just want to make a quick decision now, don't waste time, so I agreed, sure, but I didn't bring any cash. I will bring it over tomorrow, but after receiving my money, he will have no relationship with you in the future. Can you agree? Yes, as long as you have the money ready, anything is easy to say. Auntie Plum Blossom, I may need your help with his household registration. I would like to replace it with his previous one, and I may need the village chief's help to witness it. When I go back, I'll tell my family. By the way, could you please ask my aunt to collect some local goods for me, as much as possible, including chicken, duck, goose, eggs, and various dishes. I suddenly remembered that the end of the world is not long away. These things in the countryside are all natural, so why not just hoard some casually? What are you doing with these things? You need so much more. I opened a supermarket in the city and could easily buy some goods. Rural goods sell well. Aunt Plum Blossom firmly believes in it. Don't worry, I will definitely do it for you. Thank you, I'll call a car tomorrow to pull it. After speaking, Aunt Plum Blossom went to make arrangements. I looked at the man who had been holding my hand all along. He had grown a lot taller, and I looked up at him. Brother, go back and pack your things first. I'll come pick you up tomorrow, okay? My hands are being pulled tighter. Yao Yao too, not good. Mumu. Will she disappear? I can't find her anymore. No, I'll take you home tomorrow, back to our home. You wait for me obediently. I smiled and looked into his eyes, filled with determination. His anxious heart was gradually calmed down by me. Without speaking, I turned around and left, but a small sound came from not far away as I walked out. Mumu, I'm waiting for you to come and pick me up. Chapter 5. Welcome home. You are listening at novelfull.audio. I am sitting in the back seat of a taxi, and my phone is emitting a beep. Sister, things are done. Building A, 28, Jingxi Community. Qingyi sent a message that even remote communication is no longer possible when her spiritual power is gone. Mu Xuemo replied to her message and closed her eyes. As soon as the car stopped, I opened my eyes, pushed the door out, and gave the remaining fare to walk into the community. The community was peaceful, with dogs walking, chess playing, and dancing. It was so lively that when I thought about these things, they would no longer exist for a month. Now is just stolen time. After getting out of the elevator, Chinyi was already waiting at the door. This is a one elevator, one apartment layout, with 3 bedrooms and 2 living rooms, which perfectly suited my needs and eliminated a lot of trouble. After the end of the world, human nature no longer exists. If there is less trouble, then there will be less trouble. I just want to live the rest of my day peacefully. Chinyi poured a glass of water and handed it to me. Sister, how was it today? Have you done it yet? Well, tomorrow you'll come with me to pick him up and pick up some of the goods to bring back. My face was calm, and something flashed through my eyes. The next morning, Chinyi went to rent a van and drove on the bumpy road. Looking at the straight and handsome figure at the village entrance in front of her, she didn't know how long she had been waiting here. Her hair was covered in mist, and when she saw a car coming, she smiled happily. As soon as I got off the car, Chinyi came over to hold my hand and didn't speak. Her eyes were bright and she looked at me like a little dog with a bone. If there were a tail, it would be very pleasant to shake now. Let's go. Following me towards the village, I soon met Aunt Plum Blossom, who breathed a sigh of relief when she saw me coming. Moo, you're here. I collected a lot of things for you yesterday. Auntie, call me Shuamo. Moo is his personal name. He went to Wu Changgue's house first, and coincidentally, the village chief was also there. He gave the money and wrote a certificate, so he had no relationship with them anymore. After everything was done, he went to the village chief's house to collect goods. Aunt Plum Blossom asked the strong men in the village to help move the goods. I gave her an extra amount of money and reminded her to buy more food at home. This is the only kindness I have left. Returning to the city, I asked Chinyi to drive the car back first. I took Lu Yuchen to apply for a new household registration. There weren't many people today, and it wasn't long before the registration was completed. I held my household registration book and asked him. Brother Aiken, your name has been changed back. Why don't you get married by the way? There was no sound nearby. I looked over and bumped into his eyes, and the joy inside was about to overflow. I laughed foolishly and joked. Why, if you don't want to, then forget it. Yes, I am willing, as long as you don't mind me. My Chen brother is so good that I didn't have time to like him. How could I dislike him? But I didn't bring my household registration with me today. Maybe another day. Now I'll take you to buy some things you need. He lowered his head to conceal the disappointment in his eyes. Mu Shuama watched him lower his head and knew what he was thinking but didn't say anything. He had a plan in mind and took him to the mall. He pushed a shopping cart, bought some toothbrushes, toothpaste, towels, and slippers, and also went to the clothing area to buy a few sets of men's underwear and home clothes. A coat and pants were also essential. He went downstairs to the hair salon to cut his hair and looked at the refreshing man in the mirror. I didn't expect it to be mine alone. Take him home. Just as I opened the door, Chinyi's voice came through. I'm back, I've already prepared the dishes, washed my hands, and eaten. Let's talk after dinner if there's anything else. Lu Yuchen followed me to wash his hands. Perhaps due to an unfamiliar environment, he was very clingy to me. I held him down at the dinner table, and he was not picky about food. He ate whatever he did, but he couldn't eat spicy food. After finishing his meal, I sat on the living room sofa and told him everything that would happen in the future. I planned to practice in seclusion, but of course, I had to wake him up. Although he doesn't have any abilities now, exercising is always good for him. Lu Yuchen has no objection. He listens to everything I say. The technique I previously practiced in the Stardust continent was called Chaos Reincarnation Technique. Practicing Chaos Reincarnation Technique to the extreme can break through the void and travel arrogantly to other worlds, which is also the main reason why I can come back. Now, due to the depletion of spiritual power, I need to practice again. My space is a small world with abundant spiritual energy, which can enter people, nourish living creatures, preserve freshness, and plant vegetables. There are also various items I have collected, which happen to bring Lu Yuchen in for exercise. Small world time ratio 1.30. Half a month has passed in a blink of an eye. During this period, the three of us have been exercising crazily, and my cultivation has recovered by 1/10. Although it is not much, it is already very strong. Qingyi is going to collect some things needed after the end of the world, and Lu Yuchen and I are also planning to go out for a stroll walking to the snack street. It's only afternoon now and there aren't many people, which is convenient for me to stock up 50 stinky tofu, 20 octopus balls, 30 rice vermicelli, 30 chicken collarbone, 100 barbecue, 20 brown sugar glutinous rice cakes, 50 cold shrimp jelly cakes, 50 fried potato crispy potatoes, 100 electric sausages, 50 roasted chestnuts in sugar-coated heated sand, 50 spicy hot pot, 50 baked gluten, 30 roasted cold noodles, 100 hand-picked cakes, 50 fried pancakes and fruits, 30 sour and hot noodles, 20 popcorn. All of these were sent to Jingxi community and continued to the next destination, milk tea shop. After strolling through the entire street of milk tea shops, I asked for 100 servings, which I will deliver tomorrow. I also took Landing Yuchen to the supermarket. Brother, do you have anything to buy? If you don't buy now, you won't have such a peaceful life anymore. I don't have anything to ask for. I don't have any money either. My silly words made me want to laugh. Looking at the man holding my cart with one hand, I asked, I didn't want you to pay. What else are you sharing with me? Mine is yours, isn't it? Buy whatever you want, I have money. Upon hearing what I said, he didn't know what was going on. His mood seemed to improve, his pace became much lighter, and he even picked up several things later on. I knew he had been worried since he came back, afraid that I would dislike him or not want him. So even though he used to be familiar with him, now that so many years have passed, he feels a bit unfamiliar. If I hadn't been with him in the previous life, I wouldn't have been able to be so calm. Now I bought a lot of things, found a place that nobody paid attention to, put it in the space, and slowly walked back hand in hand. When I got home, Qingyi hadn't come back yet. A series of snacks were brought up one by one. Lu Yuchen and I picked up the things one by one, and as soon as we closed the door, we received space. After countless times, we finally finished collecting them. I went to cook the food, but Lu Yuchen insisted on following me. There was nothing I could do, so I had to ask him to help wash the vegetables, stir-fry sweet and sour pork ribs, stir-fry fried wheat vegetables, and cook chicken soup for dinner. Hearing the sound of the door opening, I knew Qingyi had returned. Sister, I went to an electrical factory today and bought a lot of appliances, including refrigerators, electric ovens, engines, generators, televisions, electric ovens, electric kettles, etc. Each one has one, and you have everything in your space. I don't think that's too much. I also went to the countryside and rented a warehouse. I bought a lot of chickens, ducks, geese, and pigs to keep in the space. Tomorrow, you and I will go collect them together. I didn't lift my head and kept moving my hands to pick up vegetables for Lu Yuchen, responding with a nod. Qingyi has space, so I can't collect live animals. After finishing my meal, I sat in the living room and watched TV for a while. Then I went back to my own room to sleep. Tomorrow, there was a big task to do, and as usual, I went into the space to practice for a week before resting. Chapter 6. Hoarding. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Before dawn, Mu Xuema woke up Lu Yuchen and changed into a white suit. Mu Xuema wore a white dress and took him to the Civil Affairs Bureau alone. As he arrived early, the bureau had not yet opened its door. Lu Yuchen was very excited all the way, and the smile on his face did not stop. After a while, he looked at the door and saw it open, pulling Mu Xuema in and running in quickly. Mu Xuema smiled and said, "Take your time, don't worry, and you won't run." Upon hearing Mu Shuima's words, she finally became less anxious, but only a little, not much. It was done in no time. Looking at the freshly issued marriage certificate, Mu Shuima hoped to land on Yuchen. Mr. Lu, please give me more guidance for the rest of your life. Well, I will treat you well and take good care of you. It's getting late after finishing the task. I went back for breakfast and drove a rented van to the countryside to collect goods. Qingyi drove, and Mu Shuima and Lu Yuchen sat side by side in the back. Brother Aiken, let's take in more food. Qingyi is a foodie and is interested in a lot of food in this world. I used to make it for her, so we should stock up on more food, otherwise we won't be able to eat it in the future. Mu Shuima pulled down Yuchen's hand and looked at him, saying that Yuchen didn't speak and nodded. Sister, thank you, I love you. Mu Shuima smiled. Our friendship for over 1,000 years has already surpassed that of friendship. I have long regarded her as my own sister and family, so a single expression can tell what the other person is up to. The car was parked at the entrance of a small warehouse in the countryside, which was remote and not easy to be noticed. When the warehouse door was opened, various animal sounds came from inside, and there was a sour smell. Each animal was tied up so that it wouldn't run around. There were 50 chickens, 50 ducks, and 50 geese each. Anyway, there would be more and more space left. Qingyi drove the car in, closed the door, and with a wave of her hand, everything on the ground entered the space. After sitting in the car for a while, I finished work and went home. On the way, I passed by the market all night and went in crazily to buy and sell. When it was almost 10 o'clock, I had a simple meal and went back to my room to sleep. I slept until I woke up naturally. It was already dawn. After washing up, I opened the door and walked out. Both of us in the living room looked at me. Lu Yuchen greeted Mu Shuima and said, "Good morning, Mu Mu." Qingyi interjected beside me, "It's already noon now, it's getting late." Mu Shuima went to the kitchen to bring breakfast to the table and sat down to eat. A bowl of century egg and lean meat congee made everyone feel warm. After washing the dishes, we discussed what we needed to prepare for today and asked Qingyi to buy a few cars, including 2 RVs, 3 off-road vehicles, 2 snowmobiles, 1 assault boat, and 3 kayaks. After Qingyi left, Mu Shuima and Lu Yuchen went crazy online shopping at home, buying various things: clothes, various equipment, shoes, hats, gloves, pants, socks, underwear, lunch boxes, milk teacups, stew pots, paper towels, anti-towels, milk, yogurt, various ready-to-eat breakfast bags, self-heating hot pot, compressed biscuits, power bank, 4-piece set of thickened cotton quilts, alcohol blocks, hot pot base, barbecue racks, smokeless charcoal. Just thinking of these for now, there are too many varieties inside, so we won't introduce them one by one. There are still some things that need to be bought at the store. I will go out again in the afternoon and have a meal first. I don't want to cook today, so I took out the vermicelli in the space and ate it. I thought that 1 serving of Lu Yuchen would definitely not be enough, so I brought out another serving of small noodles. When I was full, I had to take action. I rented a warehouse first, so it would be convenient to receive the goods. Then first, I went to the orchard selling fruit trees, including cherry trees, dragon fruit seedlings, cherry trees, blueberry trees, apple trees, strawberry seedlings, banana trees, poplar trees, lychee trees, longan trees, plum trees, blood orange trees, yangmei trees, durian trees, bee-sugar plum trees, various grape seedlings, watermelon seedlings, loquat trees, pear trees, peach trees, sugarcane seedlings, persimmon trees, snake skin fruit trees, hawthorn trees, sugar orange trees, chestnut trees, kiwi fruit trees, jujube trees, jiabao fruit trees, mango trees, pineapple seedlings, and passion fruit trees. 5 pomegranate trees of various varieties. Next door is the wholesale of vegetable seeds, and I happen to buy some variety space. Oilseed vegetables, water cabbage, small cabbage, baobao white, lettuce, coriander, potatoes, purple potatoes, sweet potatoes, winter melon, pumpkin, peas, sweet potatoes, tomatoes, chives, carrots, lotus roots, yam, broccoli, cauliflower, kidney beans, jar beans, glutinous corn, and bought some mushroom bags. Golden needle mushrooms, monkey head mushrooms, shiitake mushrooms, flat mushrooms, coral mushrooms, monkey head mushrooms, white agaricus mushrooms, yuhuang mushrooms, red flat mushrooms, chicken leg mushrooms, abalone mushrooms, gray tree mushrooms, yellow longitudinal mushrooms, cordyceps, and lingzhi mushrooms. 50% for various varieties including ginseng, morel, white fungus, wood ear, asparagus, magnolia lettuce, Dutch beans, spinach, scallions, celery, fishy grass, radish, mint, chili, garlic, scallions, Chinese cabbage, and cucumber. On the other side of the transition, I bought some seasonings. Salt, chili noodles, Sichuan pepper noodles, cumin powder, sesame, soy sauce, dark soy sauce, light soy sauce, vinegar, rice wine, white vinegar, monosodium glutamate, chicken essence, Sichuan pepper oil, chili oil, cooking wine, extremely fresh taste, oil consumption, 13 spices, braised sauce, pepper powder, sesame oil, star anise, fragrant leaves, Sichuan pepper, cinnamon, fennel, chili pepper, grass fruit, baiji, shan nai, clove, cumin, tangerine peel, lemongrass, fragrant sand, white cardamom, gardenia, chenli xiang, ginger, cardamom, licorice, and white sugar. I ordered 2,000 for various types of brown sugar, Sichuan pepper oil, barbecue sauce, and sesame sauce. After buying these, I sent them to the warehouse separately and went to the wholesale market in the city. There were 5 grass carp, 10 duobao fish, 5 carp, 5 silver carp, 5 crucian carp, 3 rabbit males and 5 females, and 5 quail males and 10 females. I saw someone selling piglets and bought 2 males and 1 female. The front is the seafood area, with 50 different species including skinned shrimp, river shrimp, Australian lobster, spotted shrimp, black tiger shrimp, and crayfish oysters, scallops, turtles, colorful snails, abalone, snail, field snail, ivory clam, razor clam, bamboo clam, 200 yen each, salmon, tuna, perch, sardine, clams, eels, hairtail, grouper, small silverfish, jinchang fish, cod, all 5, these seafood are alive. Less varieties are raised in space, more can be raised. There is a wholesale and retail store in front of us, and we can go in for a quick meal. There are 200 cases of instant noodles of various tastes, 500 cases of potato chips of various tastes, 300 cases of preserved fruits of various varieties, 500 cases of candied fruits of various tastes, 200 cases of snow cakes, 500 cases of white rabbit milk candy, 30 yen of fruit gums, 800 cases of crispy noodles, 50 cases of fried cookies, 200 cases of nut biscuits, 500 cases of dried tofu of various tastes, 200 cases of iced cream cakes, 300 bags of spicy strips of various shapes, 1,000 pieces of chocolate, 1,000 pieces of konjac crisp, 200 pieces of sakuma, 500 pieces of beef jerky, 200 pieces of sandwich biscuits, and 200 pieces of meat, 500 cattails, 300 loose meat breads, 300 pocket breads, 50 bags of purple sugar, 1,000 yen of boneless chicken feet in various flavors, 1,000 boxes of yogurt, 1,000 boxes of pure milk, 1,000 jelly, 200 lollipops, 300 boxes of persimmon cakes, 500 soy egg, 600 zumaminiang, 800 bags of loose meat rolls, 500 pieces of cake and various small dim sum, all. These flavors have Kazakhstan. I also bought some hot pot dishes. Although I bought some online, I couldn't eat enough. 5,000 portions of tripe, 3,000 portions of duck intestines, 1,000 portions of kelp, 1,000 portions of quail eggs, 1,000 portions of bell roll, 1,900 portions of cabbage, 2,000 portions of fat cattle, 5,000 portions of tripe, 300 portions of diced gluten, 200 portions of duck blood, 200 portions of brain flour, 500 portions of Sichuan noodles, 600 portions of beef offal, 600 portions of shrimp slip, 800 portions of belly-wrapped meat, 600 portions of mutton offal, 1,000 portions of spicy beef, 500 portions of potato flour, 1,000 portions of square bamboo shoots, 800 portions of squid whiskers, 1,000 portions of small octopus, 1,000 portions of cod, 500 yuan. Because they bought a lot, the store also sent 200 packets of hot pot primer, 20 double flavor hot pot, 50 cases of alcohol, and asked the store to buy 1,000 cases of alcohol and 500 packets of hot pot primer. Under the store's introduction, they went to the hardware store, where they bought 20 barbecue racks, 1,000 kilograms of smokeless charcoal, and 100 stoves and various tools to send to the warehouse. Looking at the time, it's getting late and it's time to go home. Mu Shuima asked Lu Yuchen, Brother Aiken, are you tired today? I'm not tired. I'm very happy to be with you. I'm not tired. Lu Yuchen took my hand and we walked home together. After finishing our meal, we took them to the space to exercise for a while before resting. Today, we had a good day's harvest, and these things can't be used up for hundreds of years. Chapter 7. Days before the end of the world. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yesterday, Qingyi came back and bought 20 mobile phones and 10 laptops. Today, I plan to have Lu Yuchen watch some TV dramas, listen to music, world maps, make various types of food, and shop online for some things. Qingyi and I walked to the elevator entrance one by one, waiting for the elevator. Qingyi held my arm and said, Sister, would you like to remind me? It hasn't been a long time. Mu Shuima glanced at her and sure enough, my expression couldn't deceive her. She knew without saying anything, I will anonymously post it when the time comes, and whether we believe it or not is none of our business. Not speaking, the journey was peaceful. Mu Shuima and Qingyi were not the talkative type, but their tacit understanding was unmatched. The car stopped at the warehouse entrance and waited for half an hour for the fruit tree to be delivered. They also brought a few helpers to help go down to the warehouse, settle the money, and everyone gave a tip. After people left, Mu Shuima walked into the warehouse and waved the fruit tree, but it disappeared. After repeated this, they finally finished collecting and returned home. Qingyi went to cook, and I sat on the sofa. Lu Yuchen came over, holding his record of today's battle. Looking at you with eager eyes, it seemed like he was asking for praise inside. Mu Shuima looked at him seriously and said, Brother Aiken is great. He just bought so many things in such a short while and even watched a lot of TV dramas. It's great, it's really good. Lu Yuchen's face turned red after being praised, and he felt embarrassed. His eyes couldn't even look at Mu Shuima anymore. Mu Shuima looked at the person in front of him with pink ears, so cute, as if kissing him. He did the same thing and raised Lu Yuchen's face. He kissed her and looked at the enlarged facial features in front of him. His pupils dilated, and his lips were icy, cold, and soft, like jelly. He wanted to take a bite, but before he could finish his thoughts, Lu Yuchen lightly took a bite. Suddenly, he heard a moan, which frightened him and quickly released his mouth, opening his mouth. Mumu, you. Are you okay? I didn't mean to. Mu Shuima's face turned red and she didn't dare to look at him. How could she suddenly not resist temptation? Who made Lu Yuchen look so handsome? It was him who tempted me. Yes, it's not my business. Seeing Mu Shuima keep silent, Lu Yuchen thought he hurt me and couldn't help but feel anxious. She quickly stood up, hands unconsciously pinching each other. Mumu, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Was it very serious? It hurts, right? I. Looking at the person in front of me who was about to cry, I pulled him back to the sofa and sat down, but Mu Shuima interrupted him. It's okay, it doesn't hurt, really. Look, even the skin hasn't broken. Lu Yuchen carefully looked at my mouth before feeling relieved. He remembered the previous kiss and asked Mu Shuima, Mumu, next time I want to do what I just did, is that okay? Mu Shuima was about to return to him when Qingyi's food was ready. After finishing the meal, she decided to leave. After finishing the meal, she went to the space to exercise for a while, rested, and slept. This incident was forgotten by someone, but some people had muddy dreams all night because of this kiss. It's only a few days before the end of the world, and I'm not planning to go out. All of them are staying at home to buy and sell. Mu Shuima anonymously sent a letter to it, and whether she believes it or not is not Mu Shuima's concern. Then, she sealed the elevator entrance, installed thick anti-theft doors on the stairs, turned on electricity, and waited quietly for the arrival of the end of the world. She said that in the last few days, Mu Shuima and the others practiced more in the space. Mu Shuima's cultivation has now recovered by 2 levels, and Qin Yi has also recovered by 7 or 8. She is a divine bird with strong self-healing ability, so she needs to recover faster than humans. After this period of training, Yu Chen is already more than enough to deal with ordinary people. When he has superpowers in the future, he will become stronger, so he spent his time in cultivation. The end of the world has arrived, and the weather is slowly getting colder. It has dropped from around 30 degrees to over 20 degrees. Many people have not yet realized that a cruel world is about to come. On the first day of today, the temperature did not drop much, and tomorrow it will drop to a few degrees. Many people have not reacted before they die of cold. Anyway, in the past life, the 10 floors below were covered in snow, waves after waves. Human life is really fragile. Mu Shuima came out of the space and went to the window. Looking at the vast expanse of white outside, he felt extremely heavy. The end of the world was ahead of time. It only snowed a few days later in the last life. I don't know if it was because of me. I didn't want to. I turned around and walked to the kitchen. I cooked a pot of porridge, steamed a basket of steamed buns, and breakfast was settled. I called Lu Yuchen and Qin Yi out to eat. I turned on my mobile phone, and the community was already bombed. 8.6. What kind of weather? Why did it suddenly get cold? B.9. When can this weather stop? I still have to go to work. Yesterday was still in the 30s, wasn't it? Why? C.28. The temperature won't continue to drop, will it? Do I need to stock up on some goods? C.14. Upstairs, you wouldn't believe that the end of the world has arrived, haha. B.25. If the end of the world really comes, I'll wash my hair upside down. A.31, plus 1. B.6, plus 1. I have to say the truth about C.28. It seems that there will be many people washing their hair upside down in the future. Mu Shuima did not participate in their topic. With this leisure time, it's better to practice more and strengthen oneself in order to better protect oneself and the people around her in the future. Snowfall can effectively mask odors. Food is very important after the end of the world. Mu Shuima plans to make a lot of food today and put it in a disposable lunchbox. If it's not convenient to cook in the future, it's also convenient to take it out and eat. Whenever he talks, Mu Shuima and the 3 of them are busy. I cooked a lot of boxed meals, a variety of mouthfuls, steamed a lot of mantu, steamed stuffed buns, steamed rolls, etc., made a lot of cups of milk tea, etc., with a variety of varieties, and cooked several pots of soup. I made a lot of soup in a busy day, but I couldn't finish it for 2 or 3 months. After a busy day, I went back to my room to rest. After having dinner, Mu Shuima went into the space and planted all the fruit trees she had bought before. No matter what items were in the space, just use her mental energy. Previously, she didn't plant because she didn't recover much, so she saved as much as she could. Now that she has recovered 2 layers and her mental energy has increased significantly, the space needs to be cleaned up. Throw various vegetable seeds into the soil, and various flower seeds around the villa. Anyway, any seed that falls into the soil in the space will take root, not afraid of not growing. There are several barren mountains in the space, and some trees have been planted on the mountains. Classify the animals one by one and place them in each mountain. They are free range and delicious. Sprinkle some grass seeds and wheat seeds, and wait for them to grow slowly, and they will have food to eat. After a while, they will all be ready. Looking at these achievements, they are not afraid anymore. I sorted and placed various items again. It was getting late, and when I got out of space, I lay on the bed. Thinking of the kiss today, I couldn't help but blush. Mu Xuema has already married him and should sleep together. Tomorrow, I told Lu Yuchen to move in with me, close my eyes, and fall asleep. Chapter 8. The beginning of the end of the world. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. It snowed heavily in the second half of the night, and the temperature dropped directly to a few degrees. People were immediately awakened by the cold. The power has not been cut off yet, and heating can still be used. When the power is cut off in the future, it will be truly cruel. Previously, Qingyi renovated her house by installing radiators and thickened single-sided windows, providing sound insulation and warmth. Even the front door was made of thickened iron and powered on, saving a lot of trouble in the future. As soon as dawn broke, Qingyi looked out the window at blizzard, her phone beeping incessantly. Qingyi opened it and took a look, then went to the kitchen to cook. Mu Xuema walked out of the room, but didn't see Lu Yuchen. She asked Qingyi, "Brother Aiken hasn't gotten up yet?" Qingyi kept cutting vegetables in her hand and returned without lifting her head. "Not yet, isn't he usually getting up early? Do you want to go take a look?" Upon hearing this, Mu Xuema walked to Lu Yuchen's room and knocked on the door, but no one answered. He lightly twisted the door handle and the door opened. Lu Yuchen lay in bed, blushing. Mu Xuema went up and touched her forehead. Damn it, since she had a fever. Mu Xuema went out and asked Qingyi to pour in a cup of warm water, then took fever medicine from the space and fed it to him to rest well. They then went out together. Mu Xuema said to Qingyi, "I'm planning to go out at night. I didn't stock up on a lot of medication before, but now I'm planning to go outside and look for some. The goal during the day is too big, so it's good to take action at night. Then I'll go with you." "No need, you can keep an eye on Brother Aiken at home. I'm afraid he won't see us when he wakes up at night and will be anxious. If he goes out on his own, it won't be good. Besides, we have to leave someone to take care of him." After feeding Lu Yuchen's breakfast, Mu Xuema and Qingyi made a lot of room for food, cooked some porridge and brought it to Lu Yuchen's room. He found that he was awake, touched his forehead, and found that the fever had subsided. "You just got rid of your fever. You should have some light food. I made congee." Lu Yuchen didn't take the bowl and looked at Mu Xuema, not sure if it was due to illness. His eyes were wet, with a hint of coquettishness, and his voice was hoarse. "Mumu, can you feed me? I don't have the strength." Mu Xuema didn't speak. He just used his actions to prove that after feeding a bowl of congee, he put down the bowl and told him that he would go out at night. There was no danger. Let him not worry. If he had something to do, he would go to Qingyi. As soon as he heard that Mu Xuema was going out, he was anxious to get together. How could he get together when he was ill? Mu Xuema persuaded him for a long time to pacify him. After having lunch with Qingyi outside the door, I went back to the space to practice. I practiced all my skills and then looked at the crops in the space. They looked pleasing and were about to mature. Some fruit trees had already bloomed, and some animals had added new members. Before I could finish looking outside, there was a knock on the door. As I left the space, Qingyi stood at the door and saw my figure, saying, "It's getting late, sister. You go and return early, be careful of your safety." It turned out that it was already dark, and Mu Xuema thought of going out tonight. She responded and prepared for a while before leaving. Just as she left, a piercing cold hit her face. Mu Xuema was dressed in a white thick and long down jacket, with a white ear cap on her head and thick threaded lamb wool leggings under her. Her shoes were white thick snow boots, and the outside was a vast expanse of white. Wearing white can better conceal her figure. Fortunately, there was chaos turning around and making a decision. Ordinary people were afraid it would be difficult to move a single step. Mu Xiaomo walked in the snow as if walking flat on the ground, and not long after walking north, he saw a pharmacy. Thinking that there was still no power outage, he found a blind spot in the space as a precaution, and controlled the space to enter the pharmacy. With his spiritual power passing through the medicine outside one by one, the items on the shelf disappeared one by one. He also operated several other shops in the same way, and the shops on this street were not left behind. It was getting late, and the things were almost collected. It was time to go back. On the way back, someone upstairs saw someone outside who could still walk outside, and it was unbelievable. Mu Xiaomo didn't let anyone notice and returned home. He took a hot shower and went to see Lu Yuchen. He found out that he was not asleep yet, so he knew he was waiting for me. Brother Aiken, let's sleep together in the future. We are already married and we are husband and wife. Which husband and wife sleep separately? Upon hearing these words, Lu Yuchen's face immediately turned red and he stuttered, I thought Mu didn't want to sleep with me, but it turns out I wasn't overthinking it. Mu is willing to sleep with me. I heard this and felt a little sorry for him. Brother Aiken, you can be a little more capricious and proud with me. If you have any requirements, you can also talk to me about good or bad things. I don't like you being so insecure. I like you just because you are Lu Yuchen. Whether in the past, now or in the future, we will be together for a lifetime, so you must speak up about anything. Couples should speak up, so that we can be better and have more confidence. Do you know? Mu Xiaomo didn't give him a chance to talk. These things made him think about it himself. Alright, go to sleep. I'm tired. Mu Xiaomo lay down next to Lu Yuchen, holding his waist and fell asleep in no time. Lu Yuchen looked at the people around him and felt sweet in his heart. Although his mind was not very good, he understood that Mu was someone he had recognized since childhood. Otherwise, he wouldn't be foolish. No one could remember her, or maybe God was moved by his feelings and sent Mu Xiaomo to his side. So he must cherish it well. Thinking of this, Lu Yuchen hugged Mu Xiaomo tightly, closed his eyes, and his breathing slowly became calm. Mu Shui woke up at midnight, a habit that had been developed for over 1,000 years. Watching the person beside her still asleep, Lu Yuchen, who was asleep, was like a cute little puppy. She couldn't help but kiss him on the mouth, woke up and opened the door. The next door, Qingyi, happened to wake up and say hello, good morning, sister. What do you want to eat in the morning? Feel free to eat some, he's still asleep. I'll use the restroom in your room. Mu Xiaomo went to wash up, Qingyi went to cook, and the atmosphere was harmonious. After washing up, she walked out and looked at the growing snow outside. Opening her phone, there was an explosion of information inside C.6. Did someone go out yesterday? I saw a figure walking outside at night. B.4. I also saw it. Who is so awesome, dare to go out? A.7. It seems like you have entered our building, but I don't know which floor it is. C.21. Who, come out and explain how they got out. B.1. What to do? The snow is almost flooding my house. C.1. My home has also been affected. Is there a kind-hearted person upstairs to take me in? A.1. Does our building take in our family? B.24. Downstairs, there is still an empty room at home. You can move up and share the rent equally. B.1. Okay, we'll move right away. Thank you. The other two families have also found other accommodations, but one person in the group spoke with foresight. A. 11. Do you think this is a precursor to the end of the world? I've read many apocalyptic novels that start like this. Why don't we stock up on more goods? In case, there's a way to save lives and there won't be any losses. B.15. I agree. I'll go out and buy some when the snow clears, just in case there are both those who agree and those who disagree on the other floors, thinking it's just sensationalism. Administrator. Please do not spread rumors or believe them. This is just an ordinary blizzard, so don't panic. The government has already sent people to clear the roads for easy access, so please wait quietly for official news. These are just high-sounding official words. When things get out of hand, you run faster than anyone else. Chapter 9. Human Nature 1. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. There's nothing to see from now on. It's better to recover more cultivation with this time. After eating like this, I took Qingyi and Lu Yuchen to practice in the space for an unknown amount of time. Mu Shuama's cultivation level was restored again. After Lu Yuchen finished exercising, he went to explore the space. After Mu Shuama finished practicing, he went to find him. Seeing him squatting by the creek and reaching into the water, the little fish were not afraid of life, and they all gathered around him to play, making him laugh. It seems that he changed a lot last time he talked, and his personality has become more cheerful. Is it fun, Brother Aiken? Mu Shuama walked over and squatted next to him, learning from him to put his hand into the water. The little fish surrounded him, and Lu Yuchen pulled my hand out of the water, pouting and saying, "No kissing, she's mine." Upon hearing his words, Mu Shuama couldn't help but laugh uncontrollably. It's been a long time since I laughed so heartily. As expected, only by his side can I relax all over. Is Brother Aiken jealous? Yes, you are mine, I can only kiss you, no one can touch you. Watching his ears turn red and adorable, Mu Shuama tiptoed up and kissed his mouth. He was stunned and turned to attack. Perhaps neither of them was very skilled, and his teeth accidentally hit the skin of his mouth, causing bleeding. A bloody smell filled his mouth. Mu Shuama felt a slight stabbing pain on his lips and gently pushed him. He left his lips and looked at the blood beads on Mu Shuama's mouth, panicking. "Mumu, I didn't mean to, and I don't know what happened. I'm sorry, I hurt you." Looking at the pitiful little dog I made a mistake with, Mu Shuama smiled. "It's okay, there's no need to apologize. You're just not proficient now, and we won't be able to practice more in the future." "Really, do you still want to?" He lifted his head and looked at Mu Shuama with wet eyes, waiting for her answer, as if crying for her whenever she dared to say no. "Why not? I'm also happy doing this, so don't worry, have some confidence in yourself." Lu Yuchen nodded. He was really well behaved. We went to the kitchen together and made a lot of pastries. In the future, when we were hungry, we could take them out to eat, which was convenient. There was a power outage at night, and the group informed us that due to some floors being flooded by snow, there was a risk of electric leakage, so the entire city was temporarily cut off. The group is now bustling with noise, and a power outage means that the heating cannot be used anymore. Those who have a generator at home are fine, and they can last for a few more days. Those who don't have them must die of cold. Therefore, there is a lot of cursing in the group now, which has nothing to do with us. Just live our own lives. Well, Kinjila is developing an electric motor because she bought the best one, so the sound is not loud. The curtains are also light-proof and not afraid of being discovered. Kinjila said she is going out today to collect some oil, because oil is a pipe product. We didn't collect a lot at first, but now we can collect more. Mu Shuama is planning to leave Lu Yuchen at home with Kinjila, telling him that no one is allowed to open the door, sleep in the room, and not come out. He asked us to be careful. After saying that, she obediently lay down and watched him close her eyes. Mu Shuama walked out and closed the door, and went out with Qingyi. Taking out the snowmobile, Qingyi drove it. At the beginning, she twisted around and quickly gained control. Qingyi had a strong learning ability and drove for about half an hour before stopping at a gas station in the city. Mu Shuama and Qingyi looked at each other and saw someone walking in front of the refueling machine, ignoring the people in the store. Her mental energy spread downwards, and any fuel that came into contact with it was received in space. Even the two tanker trucks behind her did not let go, and everything was collected. She left some fuel for the people in the store, ready to leave. A shout came from the store. "Hello, those two people over there. You can send me to Xianyan community and I can give you money." Ignoring the people over there, he rode his snowmobile and left, and his screams could still be heard from afar. "Damn it, what kind of person is that? It's not like they don't pay, why are they running away? Can you help me out? What's going on? That's right, don't let me meet them again, or I'll kill them. I collected gasoline from a few more gas stations and then went home. The snowmobile drove to a place not far from the community and collected the space. The snow had already flooded to the 3rd floor, and I had to flip through the window of the 3rd floor room and walk to the stairwell on the 7th floor. Several families gathered together to heat the fire, probably the ones who were flooded. They removed all the wooden boards in their homes to keep warm, otherwise they would freeze to death. When they heard a sound, they all looked towards us. Mu Shuema and Qingyi ignored them and prepared to continue walking upwards, but someone stopped them. Wait, I'm Yu Changlu, the head of Building A. Since you two are also from Building A, we should help each other. How did you get out? Can you tell us about the situation outside? Mu Shuema and the two of them remained silent, watching him quietly. The others couldn't sit still and were all morally kidnapping him. I'm not talking about what's going on with you guys, everyone is in the same building. Tell us what's going on. Since you have a way out, why don't you go out and find some food for us? I can give you money for the food and water I want. And me, I can also give you money. I want to eat meat, but I haven't eaten meat for a week. I'm so greedy. Grandma, I need toys and snacks. You ask them to buy them. Okay, Grandma's good grandson, did you two hear me? You go buy me what my grandson wants right away. I have plenty of money, so I'll give you a tip when I get it. An old lady dressed in luxurious attire with a harsh expression said. Qingyi was about to be laughed at by the shameless anger of these people, but Mu Shuema didn't feel anything. These people had nothing to do with us, and there was nothing to be angry about. Except for Lu Yuchen, others didn't deserve me to have expressions. How big of a face do you have? Why don't you go? Do we know each other and just force us to do things? With money, we can't buy everything now. Money is just a piece of waste paper, and it's useless to use it to wipe our buttocks. If you have a better attitude, maybe I can tell you about the outside situation. I'll take your attitude and think it's beautiful. Qingyi's little mouth chattered, not giving them a chance to interject. After finishing speaking and leaving, they hadn't even reacted yet, so we disappeared into the hallway. Yu Changlu watched as they left and remained silent for a long time. A young man with yellow hair walked up to him and said, "Brother Yu, what should we do? These two little girls are so ignorant. Should I take someone to teach them a lesson tonight? Take it easy and don't beat them to death. I can still use them." Huang Mao went down to find someone to do something at night. Mu Shuema and the others didn't know about these things here, and even if they knew, they wouldn't pay too much attention. A group of clowns were just jumping over bridges. They walked to the stairwell on the 28th floor, put on insulated gloves, opened the door with a key, walked in and closed the door. Lu Yuchen heard the sound of the door and had already opened it, walking towards us. Mu, are you okay? Have you been injured? Mu Shuema took his hand and walked in. After standing at the door for a while, his hand was chilling. Mu Shuema poured 2 cups of hot water, one for Lu Yuchen to hold, and the other for Qingyi. It's okay, I'm not injured, but it's you. Didn't I tell you to rest earlier? Lu Yuchen drank hot water and whispered, "You haven't come back, I can't sleep." Don't be angry, I won't do this next time. Watching him like this, Mu Shuema held his hand and used spiritual energy to warm his hands, and soon they warmed up. It's okay, just wait if you want, but you can't go out next time. Just wait at home. It's so cold outside and you're not feeling well. What if you catch a cold and have a fever? I know now, I won't do it again next time. Qingyi finished drinking hot water and walked up to her side, saying, "Can you two be more careful? I'm still here, bullying a single bird. I went back to my room to sleep. I'm a bit overwhelmed with this dog food." Mu Shuema and Lu Yuchen smiled at each other and went back to their room to wash up and sleep. Chapter 10. Human nature too. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. In the middle of the night, Mu Xianyan suddenly opened her eyes, with no signs of drowsiness in her eyes. She walked out lightly and saw that the door to Qingyi's room was open. She knew she had gone out, opened the door, and walked out. Qingyi squatted on the ground, a pitch-black body. It seemed that some people couldn't sit still and wanted to do something. Qingyi, throw him out of the window and don't stain our place. Qingyi lifted her body and casually threw it away. The body fell out of the window without any problem. She tidied up and went home to continue sleeping, without any impact on her side. Huang Mao ran back to the 7th floor with a group of people. The others watched them run back in such a disheveled state, reducing their presence one by one, afraid of venting their anger on them. Huang Mao didn't have time to talk to them now, so he found Yu Changlu and said, "Brother Yu, those 2 little girls are not good people. Since we installed an iron door and had electricity in the stairwell on the 28th floor, we lost a brother before we entered. It seems that they should know something, otherwise how could ordinary people think of and these things? Don't provoke them yet. They don't know their background, nor do they know how many people there are. Let's wait and see what happens." Yes, Huang Mao instructed the other people who went with him today not to spread the news, otherwise they would have good fruit to eat. The others repeatedly promised not to talk nonsense before letting them go back to rest. Some had a good night's dream, while others stayed up all night. The next morning, Mu Xianyan opened her eyes and saw Lu Yuchen looking at him. She saw that she was awake and greeted him with big white teeth. "Good morning, Mumu. Did you sleep well last night?" "Good morning, sleeping well." I lifted my head and gave him a kiss on the mouth. Muxwemula landed and Yuchen finished washing up before leaving the room. Seeing that Qingyi had already prepared breakfast, she greeted him and said, "Qingyi, good morning, what delicious food did you make today?" Lu Yuchen followed Mu Xianyan to the dining table and watched her for a moment. Qingyi walked over with a bowl in hand. "I ate wonton today. I made it myself. Please try it." Mu Xianyan and Lu Yuchen directly proved their taste by their actions. After breakfast, thinking that they would not be so relaxed, they decided to make more dumplings and wonton today. They said they would take action when they said they would. Lu Yuchen kneaded the dough, Mu Xianyan rolled the dough, and the 3 people worked in an orderly manner. However, before she had packed much, there was some noise coming from outside. Mu Xianyan put down her rolling pin and said, "Let's go and take a look. Some people can't sit still." 3 people walked out, and at the stairwell, the head of the building, Yu Changlu, accompanied a few young men. They should have caused trouble last night because they saw Huang Mao inside and saw us coming out. Yu Changlu said, "Miss Mu, are you still going out today? Can you bring us all together? Everyone has almost eaten their surplus food and wants to go out and find something to eat. You went out yesterday, so you must know how to get out. Perhaps you have any transportation that you can lend us." It has to be said that what kind of people and what kind of things to learn from. Qingyi stood up and said, "How do you have any relationship with us? Now that we are too busy dealing with natural and man-made disasters, who has the time to meddle in our own affairs? You are the building manager, we are not. We have no obligation to help anyone, so don't disturb us. Everyone is safe and sound. If there is 1 or 2 people who are not eye-catching, then we don't need to be lenient." Because of last night's incident, there was no one who didn't argue with her. Mu Xianyan landed in Yuchen and returned to the kitchen. Qingyi followed closely behind and closed the door, continuing to live her own little life. This kind of little day has passed for almost a month, and the extreme cold is about to pass. Many people have not withstood it. Even if they have withstood the extreme cold, the subsequent scorching heat cannot withstand it. Some viruses also come with the arrival of the scorching heat, and various drugs that are useful and useless are sold out. Many people have survived but their physical fitness has deteriorated, which also gives black rain an opportunity to take advantage of in the future. It seems that we need to prepare in advance. Mu Shuama is going to the space to refine a protective barrier, so that the hot virus will not be inhaled into her body. Taking advantage of the arrival of the scorching heat, Mu Shuama has closed down for a few days. Her cultivation has not fully recovered yet, but refining a basic protective shield is still possible. It took 2 days to refine the protective cover, which is permanent. It not only provides sound insulation, but also blocks odors, controls temperature, and provides protection. As a result, the refining was completed in 2 days. As soon as Mu Shuema left the room, the entire bedroom, living room, and kitchen were instantly covered by a thin film, ensuring great safety. After a few days of peaceful coexistence, the snow outside slowly melted, and the weather gradually warmed up. The climate gradually warmed up, and many people had not gone out for a long time. As soon as the weather warmed and the snow melted, they eagerly ran to the square, and in an instant, the entire community became noisy. Finally, the sun has risen. Does it mean that these disasters are over? Woo-woo, my grandmother is gone. Why didn't the damn sun come out earlier? I'm so hungry. I'm going to the supermarket to buy some delicious food. I haven't eaten meat for a month and my mouth has faded. After experiencing such things, I'd better go hoard some things. Now that I have some food at home, I can feel more at ease. Others listened to him and walked in groups, heading straight to the supermarket. Some people don't believe it will be so unlucky, and the aunties are urging, blizzard has passed, there is no need to worry, the snow has melted. This person is here to make alarmist remarks. Don't believe him, he is just trying to cause panic. That's right, at first glance, I don't have any good intentions. It's really not a good thing. Mu Shuema and the others didn't care about what happened in the square. They had important things to do, and many people got heatstroke due to the scorching heat. Due to the high temperature, fires continued in various countries and regions. In order to reduce losses, GJ unanimously decided to cut off power nationwide. Many people died directly due to the hot weather, causing countless disturbances and injuries in various countries. It was only through forced measures that they were able to suppress the situation. Mu Shuema decided to take advantage of the chaos and go to the hospital to collect some machines, which may be useful in the future and be prepared for any potential dangers. The next day, the temperature increased significantly, reaching around 30 degrees Celsius. Some clever people realized that things were not quite right and went crazy, pulling their families to stock up, while others only complained about the bad weather. Why is the temperature rising so fast? I was wearing a down jacket yesterday, but I'm wearing short sleeves today. It's so hot that I can't bear it anymore. When will the phone call? The weather is too abnormal. Do you think it will be as strange as a blizzard? It has been hot continuously for a month. I think you're right. I'd better go and store some goods. I'm not afraid of 10,000, just in case. Anyway, we all need to eat, so buy more. Hey, brother, I'll go with you, and I'll buy some too. After experiencing this, the vast majority of people went crazy buying and selling, and only a very small number of people didn't believe in this evil. Soon, the supermarket sold out of food and couldn't restock in a short period of time.